Measurements are finally taking place all over the world to protect children from these dangerous bigots. To combat this scourge, Ukraine has successfully tested its new child predator alarm system. Flying colours! I'm sure you'll agree. Speaking of dangerous child predators, an update on the Tate situation. Peaceful protesters there, once again keeping our streets safe from Nazis, as you jolly well should. We really could learn a lesson from Ukraine, where there are no Nazis, except the invading Russians, who are Nazis. They only pretend that they're fighting Nazis to distract everyone from their own rampant Nazism. No, we do not do that. This is Munted News. We tell you who is and is not a Nazi, and if anyone else does that, they're a Nazi. Is that clear? You bet your soggy bottom it is. Speaking of National Socialists, Nicola Sturgeon, pictured here. That's Nicola Sturgeon, pictured here.
I had a look to see if I could find a roll mat, like a cheap roll mat to buy. They didn't have anything, so I'm either gonna have to camp low or in some woodland, or I'll make do. My only problem is all my batteries have gone, so if that's the case, then so be it. It's just gonna have to be cobbled together with what I can do on my phone. Whatever quality we've had throughout this might deplete a little bit, but it hasn't been that good anyway, because I've been filming in 720p, so I might as well just film it on this leaf.
Well, it is what it is, you know. Most people do not like the concept of being equal, and by equal it means, imagine having the same house like everyone else. Imagine having the same clothes like everyone else. This is like one of the first things that kids do. Like when you're a kid, your parents buy you your clothes, right? Like that's how it starts. Like your parents buy stuff from you. So like they buy your clothes, they design your room. But when you start growing up a little bit, you're like, no, I want to put my own posters in the room. I want to design the room myself. My parents didn't let me do that, and it was like so upsetting because I guess like they didn't want the furniture to be damaged, right, with posters and stuff. Like, don't damage the walls. That was like an important part of many kids, like the opportunity to design your room, the opportunity to buy your clothes, the opportunity to have a say to your haircut, right? Like that is the first sign of maturity. Like you want to be an individual, you want to get away from the mold, you want to be your own person, and you know, equality takes that away. Liberty is what's important. Freedom.
You will not see me again. Everything you see from here on in is merely a convincing deepfake. I am merely a deepfake. I always have been. If you're ever under the delusion that you're seeing the real me, it is merely a deepfake of a deepfake. Something illusory. And though I can hide my cold gaze and you can shake my hand and feel flesh gripping yours, I simply am not there. This confession meant nothing. Goodbye.
This month, his band Timcast has had their entire music library removed from Bandcamp. The singer says he believes he was targeted for his political views, but it's more likely his music was pulled because it sucks balls. Thankfully, Timcast has brought us a new single which dropped, I believe...
That's right, Vito. That's right, Vito. That's right, Vito. I've been persecuted against. because by talking about the financial issues in the Civil War. Probably some trans activists.
Tim, come on.
Vito. There's nothing that brings the right more together than my music. There's nothing that brings the right more together than my music.
I don't think...
Are you ready for the Civil War? Vito, are you ready for the Civil War?
The Civil War. It's always a Civil War with you.
Use promo code TimCast to get $5 off your beanie, your apocalypse beanie, and your coffee. Vito, do you even understand what we're at? I'm a disaffected liberal, Vito.
Yeah.
Vito, okay? I know how it works on both sides. Okay.
How are you feeling about it, Dar?
Well, I'm in two minds. Partly, I'm kind of indifferent because, let's be honest, he's just the continuity candidate essentially. I mean, I'm slightly concerned that I'm going to get rounded up and put in jail for 7 years for possession of spicy memes. That is one of Hamza's
Key
pet
policies.
projects. Yeah, one of his policies that he wants to implement. He also wants to get people arrested for discussions that they have in the privacy of their own home. He wants to be able to listen in. Literally 1984 stuff. He's currently trying to get someone jailed for calling him a cretin. You
serious?
No, that's something that happened. Police rocked up at this guy's door. Someone who called him a cretin on Twitter, and this is before he became first minister as well.
It shouldn't be a crime anyway, should it?
Good little slaves are all equally expendable. Yeah, I mean, like, if you look at a slave system, the slaves get the same clothes, right? Like, you don't get, like, if you're a slave, you don't get to decide the clothes that you wear. You don't get to decide the food that you eat, right? Like, all the slaves, they eat the same food, they wear the same clothes, they sleep in the same place. There was an economist in the US, very famous, forgot his name, doesn't matter. He basically pointed out that most control systems are the ones that are the most brutal. Like, for example, a prison, right? Like, in a prison, the prisoners theoretically are equal. Like, they get the same clothes, they get the same healthcare, they get a roof over the top of their head, but, like, the brutality and the oppression is to the point where no one wants to be a prisoner.
So the new First Minister started to shape his team on Tuesday afternoon with the announcement that Shona Robison, who even is she, who has been serving as the Social Justice Secretary.
The what now?
Yep.
Pardon me?
The Social Justice Secretary. And was a close ally of Ms. Sturgeon, would become his Deputy First Minister. He also confirmed he would have a Minister for Independence in his government, a role he pledged to create during the leadership campaign.
Do they focus on anything else?
Mr. Youssef added, I pledge that Scotland will continue to be a positive, progressive voice on the world stage. Well, I don't want it to be a progressive voice on the world stage. This progressivism is not progressive, it's regressive, it's illiberal, and it's shite,
Wow.
and it needs to stop now.
Are you unironically saying that the left are the real racists?
These ones are
A
like,
lot of
no,
them are funny.
it's not racism because I'm brown and I can't be racist. It's like, fuck off. Miss me with that shit.
It's not even that, like, the author is dead. The only thing more disgusting that I've seen, besides doing this, is when Disney uses Stan Lee's Twitter account in order to promote Disney movies. So, like, Stan Lee is dead, but he still has his account with a blue check mark, and Disney uses it in order for him to sometimes say political shit, and other times to promote Disney movies. Like, that is beyond disgusting. Like, if the person is dead, stop tinkering with his account. Fucking hell, like, these corporations, they want to own you even after you pass away. I mean, honestly. By the way, again, if 50 years from now a historian finds me and someone is still using my Twitter and my YouTube channel, I disavow, okay?
And to Blitzer in the chat, thanks very much, man. He says, I hope Dankula and Scotty M will be able to flee Jokistan before Caliph Hamza has them killed. What about me?
Fuck you, Tail. You deserve that.
Clearly, quite happy for me to get killed. Ms. Robinson was responsible for introducing. Oh no, she introduced the controversial gender reforms in her previous role as Social Justice Secretary.
She's part of the crew then, basically.
Oh God, the Social Justice Secretary is now the Deputy First Minister. Oh my God, we're fucked.
Yeah, it's not looking good, mate, is it?
No.
I've been saying it for years now. We are in the clown decade. Things are only going to get worse before they get better.
And look at it, our rating false. A German police spokesperson told USA Today that the agency's interaction with Thunberg was not staged, and she was detained. You know, you can be detained willingly. And here we have our rating false. Oh my God, the fact checkers have decreed. They have communed with the wisdom. They have communed with the science. And they have issued the diktat onto the plebs. How do they do it, by the way? Like, what do you take, like a Buddhist journey a journey of enlightenment in the mountains of Tibet in order to become a fact checker? Like, I just want to know, how can you become like one of these super beings, like a demigod? Did their mother fuck an angel and they're like the Nephilim? How does one become a fact checker?
But we all know what ill health looks like, right? Yeah. Somebody who can't get about, can't get out of their house, or they look sick.
No one knows what unwell being looks like.
Yeah. What does well-being mean?
Well-being is one of those woolly terms that means nothing.
It is, and it means absolutely bugger all. Yeah. Right? Because nobody can define it. Well-being is what you find printed outside a spa. Yeah? It's one of these terms you'd find outside a spa.
Well, yeah, because it's a holistic approach to the economy. We're fucked.
Yeah, well-being. It sounds good.
What does that mean?
It doesn't mean anything. It's just a word, you know.
I mean, when a company starts going down, what they do is they start closing down all their foreign offices and stuff like that, and they shrink back to the core. But obviously, government doesn't work like that. Libertarianism intensifies. I hate the government intensifies. Shirley Ann Somerville, who becomes Cabinet Secretary for Social Justice. You just need to nuke that department from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
Yeah.
Especially the complex history of black Americans, close quote. Now hold on a second. See, this is why places like the New York Times must be presumed to be hyper-partisan extremist peddlers of disinformation outright. This isn't a vitriolic partisan debate at all. Is Black Lives Matter a Marxist-Leninist terrorist group? Of course it is. They admit it themselves. There is no controversy there. There is no hyper-partisan vitriolic debate. Now, should the stories of Marxist-Leninist terrorist groups be part of the curricula for high schools? Of course not. Are you out of your freaking mind? Now what's next? A fair hearing from ISIS? Maybe the PKK? Why not the story of the Aryan Brotherhood? I mean, if we're getting violent collectivists into the curricula, let's be fair to all of them, right? Of course that would be ridiculous, and everyone knows it. But instead of reporting that, the New York Times frames this as if it is a controversy, but it's really not. Heck, longtime adversaries of Ron DeSantis from the education establishment ended up standing for the assessment that this whole thing is trash.
I feel like maybe
it's incredible.
The problem is not transphobia.
We'll send women to Mars, all right.
Yeah.
You know how patriarchy hurts men too? Well, so does Hollywood. And Hollywood exists.
Well, I'm hoping anyway, though, so I've got to take on these bogs now, and I'm hoping that they're all frozen. That'll be nice. And this is full of ice again. Look at that, mate. Must be 6 inch thick. Thankfully, they're sort of outlining the path for the way I've got to go. And all this would be usually soaking wet, but I'm able to just... Oh shit! Oh my god, right on cue. I'm able to just walk. Thankfully, guys, it's completely frozen over, so I'm able to just walk. I'm able to just glide across the top of the ice like some sort of figure skater without plummeting into the freezy cold, peaty nonsense. But yeah.